good evening, Mr. Ming Nam.
Yeah.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Well, I am Ming-Nam. I am 12 years old and I live. I'm 12 years old and I'm currently learning here at CC. I think I'm pretty good at English.
I think so too. Right, so for part one, what I want to focus on is swimming. Okay? So, did you learn to swim when you were younger?
Well, I think I started to learn swimming quite late. I think somewhere first or second grade. Before then, I wasn't really afraid of water. I used to play at the shallow part of the pool, but when I learned how to swim, I played all around the pool.
All right, interesting. So, how often do you go swimming nowadays?
Well, not often. I only swim in summer. Other seasons I don't swim a lot. So currently I don't swim at all, but I think in the summer I'll swim more frequently.
What places are there for swimming where you live?
Well, I live in an apartment complex and there are like a lot of apartment buildings close to each other, and one of those buildings has a pool, so I usually go there. Or if it's closed in, I go to like some schools that opens their pool to the public.
Okay. And do you think it would be more enjoyable to go swimming outdoors or at an indoor pool?
Well, I think it depends on the weather. If it's maybe too sunny or too rainy, then the indoor pool would be more enjoyable. But if it's not and the weather is just perfect, then the outdoor pools would be more enjoyable.
Okay, interesting. So, are there any places you would avoid swimming?
Well, I think pools that are like really dirty, like there are things floating on the water, then I would not go there because I'm afraid that I'd get like some sort of disease or infection. But otherwise, then I think anywhere is, and I can swim anywhere.
Do you think that all children should learn how to swim?
Yes. In the past years, there were lot of situations where children in the children like in general drowning in rivers or like lakes because they don't know how to swim, and I think that's a really dangerous situation.
Yeah, it can be quite dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay, so fantastic. Are there any places that you would personally not swim?
Personally, I wouldn't swim somewhere that's like somewhere in the forest or too natural, like a lake in some random forest, because I think it's too dangerous. Even if there are things like lifeguards and some rails, I think it would still be very risky to swim there. Or as I said, pools that are dirty. Yeah. Otherwise, I think other places are pretty okay.
Okay, interesting. And what I would like to do now is I would like to ask you one more question. Should swimming be taught at school?
Well, yes, of course, swimming should be taught at school, but I think for school that have like a low budget, then I don't think it's the utmost important thing. But for schools who have medium to high budget, then they should definitely teach swimming because, as I said, it's important.
Yes. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to part two. For part two, you will have 1 minute to prepare. I'll provide you with a speaking card. You will also have a pen and paper so that you can do some planning. You will be given 1 minute to prepare your answer. Okay, so I'm going to give you your paper and I'll read you the comment first and then I'll hand it to you. Describe a famous business person that you know about. You should say who this person is, what kind of business this person is involved in, what you know about this business person, and explain what you think of the business person. Okay, so there you go. You can read it quickly. All right. You have 1 minute to prepare. Okay. You may now begin.
So the person I'm going to talk about is Mr. Beast or Jimmy Donaldson, which is his real name. So the business he is involved in is an influencer. He works on a video platform called YouTube, and he is currently making challenge videos where he gives away money for the winner. But he also used to have a lot of other channels. For example, a gaming channel, a reaction channel, and other channels. So he is also an entrepreneur because outside of YouTube, he has two other businesses, which are Feastables, a candy making company, and I think it's Beast Burgers, which is a fast food chain. But I think he canceled Beast Burgers for some controversies. Anyway, Mr. Beast is definitely a very famous person. He has been circulating around pop culture and the internet for quite a long time. And since he started, he has always been known as this very kind and giving person. Like the first paycheck he got, he gave it all away. So from that point on, the internet knew him as this very rich but also very kind person. And to make the colossal amount of money he has, he's also very up to date, and he's always changing with the times. For example, in COVID, he made a lot of channels because he has nothing other to do. So he opened a lot of channels. But now that COVID is over and he has more to do, he closed most of those channels and opened important ones. Like his main channel is philanthropy channel, and his second channel, which gives news about his main channel. So personally, to me, he is a very great person. Usually, other influencers behind the camera are somewhat awful. Maybe they're rude or maybe they are a creep. But Mr. Beast, on and outside of the camera, he's a great person, and I think he'd do anything for the people he meet and people around him. And I definitely would like to meet him. Even if he gives me money or not, I would still like to meet him and have a chat.
Fantastic, very good. Cool. So, what I would like to do now is let's move to section 3. I think you chose an interesting person to talk about. I don't know much about him and would like to maybe spend some time learning about him. Let's talk about famous people. What kinds of people are most famous in your country today?
Well, I think the most famous people are music makers or singers, because Vietnamese people love music. So I think music makers and singers are the most popular. Besides that, there may be athletes.
Do you think there are many popular athletes that are famous from Vietnam?
I think not a lot of Vietnamese athletes are globally famous. They're usually either, I think, famous for globally for maybe a small amount of time, but I think they're famous quite a lot in Vietnam.
Okay. And why are there so many stories about famous people in the news today?
Well, the news loves controversy because they need something for people to click on the article. So whatever drama they see, usually with a famous person, so that the viewer can instantly know that and click on the article.
Okay. Do you agree or disagree that many young people today want to be famous?
Well, I think I agree because fame comes with a lot of things like money and maybe like a partner, cars, houses, things like that. So a lot of young people are very ambitious and want to be famous.
Okay. I think that you're correct. And do you think there is a negative side to that if people grow up and they don't achieve the fame that they want?
Well, maybe they become sad that their dream was broken, but I don't think it's entirely negative. Like instead of being famous, they can do another thing that doesn't involve like cameras and flashing lights. Because famous isn't entirely good either, because it also means you have to be on the camera always to get attention, and if you're not, then you will lose attention.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a very good answer, and I think that we are done with our speaking test. Well done, Samina.
Okay, thank you.